And we are live. What's up, everybody?
Howdy.
Hey, welcome to episode 6 of Crossing the Streams. We've got some amazing guests with us today. We have Nate Armbruster. What's up, Nate?
Hey, everybody.
Hi, Nate.
Nathan.
And we got Jimmy McCammon. But
Jimmy.
before we do anything, we got to do the theme song. Jimmy's going to take us through the theme song.
I am, because I'm
Jimmy's
the new
brother.
guy.
With the beautiful
You're the
voice.
new one, so you got to do it. All right, let's do it.
Oh, here's the story of some lonely fellows who spend way too much time watching the TV. All of them have jobs and friends. Well, not really, just between you and me. They made a live show out of their hobby. Every TV watcher's TV watching dream. Jeff and Ron and Sal and Bob, and then there's Howard. They call it Crossing Streams. And then one day they went live on platforms. You could hear the people laugh and shout and scream. Still can't find another word that rhymes with platform. But man, we cross the streams. Come on, we cross the streams.
We
We
cross
cross
the
the
streams.
streams. That's the way we do it. Here we cross the streams.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It worked. I like the little improvisational flair. It was fantastic.
For the record, in dress rehearsal, Jimmy completely phoned it in. That was brilliant.
Well, I was saving my voice, you know?
Right.
Yeah.
It was sort of an avant-garde take on the theme song, but
Yeah.
Definitely
Get him
avant-garde.
some room temperature water.
Yeah, it was sort of my like in the flow rap take the first time around.
I like it.
All right. So anyway, welcome. I'm Jeff DeWaskin, everyone. Welcome to Crossing the Streams, episode 6. We are here. We have got 100 million hours of TV watching experience between the 6 of us.
It's true.
90% of that's Bob. And we are now streaming in over 72 states and 400,000 countries across the world.
what numbers?
Yeah, I mean, that's like almost quadruple last time. We did get some letters have come in since. It says, we love the show. The show is great. Keep up the great work. And thank you for writing in. Those were actually good handwritten letters. So that was great.
Signed Epstein's mother.
Signed Epstein's mother. And so we got a really great show for you today. We got some really great guests for you today. So and of course Casey Ryan Plott is here. And what that means,
the notorious CRP.
the notorious CRP. So when Casey shows up, it's our goal to try and convince him to watch whatever shows we're talking about. But without further ado, I do want to introduce our guests. And we do want to introduce our guest. First guest is Nate Armbruster. You can follow him on the Insta and Twitter at Nate Comedy. He's quite the funny dude. Nate, tell us all about yourself.
All right, I'm Nate Armbruster. You can follow me on Instagram and Twitter. I'm
Nice.
That was just me repeating what Jeff said. But
By the way, the producer of the Sal and Bob show.
that's right. Yes. I guess for those who don't know, I know Jeff and Bob from stand up in Michigan. You know, I mean, that's when I started same place shortly. After you guys have, but yeah, no, I'm just a stand up comedian, joke writer, silly guy. I love podcasting. I do a podcast. Well, I haven't posted any new episodes in a while, but I plan to do more of that in the future. But yeah, just a comedian. Yeah, I guess.
Doing your thing, man.
Yeah, trying to be funny. That's it.
Nate does not kill on Twitter, but when he puts his tweets on Instagram, freaking through the roof.
Isn't that weird how that
Nice.
works? And people like this year has been so crazy. You can't do stand up. I was like, you know what? I'm just gonna start like putting stuff online, whatever. And then, I was like, I don't want to be one of those comedians posting memes all the time. And then it worked, and I was like, well, nobody's sharing, a flyer of an open mic I'm gonna be doing next month. You know what I mean? So I guess if you offer somebody content and they like it, people will gravitate toward it, I guess. But it's been fun. it's a fun little thing to get me through this weird pandemic we're in.
Nice.
Gold, Jerry. Gold.
What pandemic?
What we got Aaron Weinbaum's watching on Twitch, so we know Twitch is working. Cammy
Nice.
says hello to everybody.
Hi,
Say
Cammy.
Hey,
Damn.
And then
Cammy seemed very surprised.
Casey is a big fan of some of us. I think he means Howard, maybe Howard.
We're all fans of Howard.
And then Jerry, I don't know, Jerry. That might have been for you, Jimmy. Jerry thinks maybe you have a voice for silent film.
That's me. That's
Yes.
my origins.
Silent films. All right, wait. I got a big introduction because look at that headshot. Look at that headshot.
wow.
That is like incredible. Jimmy
Wow.
McCammon. You can follow him at the Synthetic Unlimited. He's also the host of LA as fuck. What? I just did.
Is that a pomade or some sort of mousse? What's going on there with the hair?
Oh, for sure. Yeah,
He's-
my
he's
hair is
a-
quite unruly and requires lots of product for detaining.
He's a Dapper Dan man.
Jimmy,
And I'm not being critical. I wish that I had enough hair to do that with.
Yeah. My hair grows so fast and thick that I have to have several different products. Plus, it's a Hollywood thing. You have to have a cabinet full of products just to survive.
Got it. Fair enough.
Jimmy, besides the hairstyling, what else? Tell everyone who you are, man.
Well, I am a Z-list actor in Hollywood, California. I've done every role from cop to villain. And me and my girlfriend from our apartment, we host a podcast called LAAF.
Nice.
And that is like a digest of little stories we find interesting that happen in Hollywood, and a little national news, a little this day in history, just some light goofing off to get you, driven to work or wherever you're going.
Nice.
Nice. I like it.
Strong.
Cool. That is cool. And Donna Newman says hello. She says she knows you, Jimmy.
Donna, yeah, we've
Wow.
known each other for a long time. She just wrote a book, and I'm going to have her on the show soon. I have some authors on the show sometime. You guys are all welcome on the show anytime.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Awesome. Hey, Aaron wants to know what shows we're doing. We're going to get to that in 1 second. Fred says, hello, men.
Hey.
And Jeff.
And Jeff.
Yeah.
Nice, Fred.
And then Grace is somebody typing something or opening a package? Yeah, what is that?
I
Yeah.
kicked my mic stand one time, and then everything else I just left it alone.
All right. Well,
That's Grace Faye, the co-host of my show.
oh,
and,
Grace.
Your mutual living partner as well.
Oh, very nice that you mutually live together.
Man, you got some fans.
Yeah. So we're gonna do just so everyone is aware. What do we got? We got last week. If you want to check out episode 5, we talked about Mystic Quest, Snowpiercer, Da Vinci's Demons, The Lighthouse, and The Social Dilemma. This was actually 2 weeks ago. We didn't have a show last week because the Capitol was being attacked, and we didn't have a show out of respect. So peace to everyone. And then today, just a quick sneak peek. We got some really cool stuff. We got Blink of an Eye, The Flight Attendant, The Expanse, Tehran, and the Paul Lynn Hollywood special.
Yeah.
Those are all coming up real soon, ladies and gentlemen. But first, we're going to say, what's your New Year's resolution? What Rosner, what do we got for New Year's resolution? And anybody listening in, definitely type in, and we'll put you on the board.
Yeah.
What's you?
I'm looking to travel this year, anywhere, literally. I'm willing to go from my office chair to the living room, like anything to get me up. And I normally fly 75,000 miles a year, and this year haven't traveled anywhere since March 9th. My wife and I had a honeymoon, a rather expensive and luxurious cruise to the Mediterranean. And literally, we were leaving in May. As everything was hitting, we're like, well, so we maybe just won't go to Spain. And then they're like, and Italy. I'm like, okay, well, now we're not going to Italy. They're like, yeah, we're not going on this cruise. And obviously did not go on that cruise. So we'd like to go somewhere. Yeah, that's the big one. We just we need to plan to go somewhere. That's
a
the
good one.
resolution.
CRP wants to be convinced with his life.
What
Can help
part of
you
the
with that.
country do you live in?
Detroit.
Oh, okay. So you don't want to go out. You don't want to go outside right now too much in that area.
And actually, today was a beautiful day. It was in the upper 30s.
No, he means you're going to get shot if you step outside.
Oh, yeah.
No,
Yeah. He lives in LA. It can't be that much better.
No, it's the same.
yeah.
Just slightly warmer.
It's true. Yeah, I would have been in the. I spent a lot of time in the Inland Empire for work.
Oh, okay.
And would have been out there several times in the last year, but have not made it there, obviously. So yeah,
Inland Empire.
it's beautiful. Corona is lovely this time of year.
Ontario.
Yes. Yes. Ontario.
All right. What else we got going on, Bob? Besides vertical, vertical.
In Indiana this weekend. Yeah, I know. Vertical Bob.
Bob keeps freezing.
My mother-in-law's telling me to drink more water, by the way.
Oh,
that's your mother-in-law?
I keep forgetting that Venus is your mother-in-law.
That is not.
Since it's all guys, can I just ask what's women's obsession with making us drink water all the time?
I can take a guess, but
I think it's so we stay hydrated, Jimmy. So we can. So when they ask us what we're thinking, we can actually answer.
I'm sufficiently hydrated, I think, without all the reminders. Like every time I sneeze, it's like drink water.
Jimmy, what's your New Year's
Hey,
resolution?
Mine is just to be positive. I'm a negative fuck, and I just tend to talk shit all the time and just never relent and not have a positive attitude about anything. And that's just like my resting state, you know. I'm just resting a-hole. And so I try to, like, I told my partner that it lasts roughly until the 12th of January, you know, but I've been trying to smile more, wave at people if I see them, you know, I'm out riding the bike or whatnot. And, you know, hopefully it'll affect everything else too. Like if I'm just more positive generally, you know, maybe when it comes time to work out, I won't find like an excuse not to, you know, or I'll eat like healthy food instead of garbage nachos, or I don't know, maybe I'll make some good decisions. Probably not. This will probably only last until January 12th. That's all I can promise.
it's the 13th, though. So
yeah, that's it. Yeah. I'm gonna go and
Jerry has a resolution to quit drinking for good, but start drinking for evil.
Yeah, the liquor's right up there. I can see the cabinet from where I'm sitting.
And she won't be picking the Lions because
yeah, she's not going to pick on the Lions. Well,
oh yeah, pick on
either. Both.
None of you should make those kinds of promises.
Jared Reed thinks Jimmy's the worst.
Yeah, he would know.
Okay,
we've been naked together many times.
Ooh. Speaking of being naked together, Nate, what's up?
Hi. Yeah, I guess my resolution is to read more, and I don't mean like books, you know, like actually sit down and read something without looking at my phone for like at least, you know, a couple chapters. I owe it to my brain. But yeah, that's my big thing. I want to try and I try to add something with. I'm not a big resolution guy, but I try to add something to my life versus like, you know, quit something, which I probably should quit drinking at least. I mean, who shouldn't? But you know, what's the point?
Exactly. What's the point?
I mean, you know,
did I get one? All right. So, all right, my turn. I think I'm just going to try and wear pants that aren't pajamas.
Yeah.
Can you see my pajamas?
Yeah,
these are Star Wars. These are Star Wars pajama bottoms that I bought.
Are they Mandalorians?
No, they're like a cartoon of Star Wars.
Oh.
And I think they could stand on their own, and so I wear them all the time. But they're so comfortable. My best pair of clothes I bought at Kroger for $10 in one of the stands that they were trying to get rid of stuff from.
Nice.
So my other resolution is to do things outside other than get the mail. Like, what did you do today?
Bring back the garbage.
I got the mail. Yeah. in this.
So I'll just finish up with my resolution about trying to eat less red meat. So I actually tried for the very first time a Burger King Impossible Whopper. Has anyone done this?
Yes.
Yes.
Would you like to know the calorie savings that you enjoyed from going from meat to plant-based?
I don't think much. 0 or more.
It can't be a lot.
The same
You
calories?
went from 660 calories for the sandwich alone to 630 calories. Congratulations.
I thought I read an article that said that there's only like two minor ingredients difference between Impossible Burgers and dog food.
So my thing about I actually like all those meats. I mean, I think it's good. I like the Impossible Burger. I don't think it's like you can't really replace meat. I mean, I think for what it is, it's pretty good though as a standalone thing. I'm like, it's pretty good.
It was fine.
I like it. But
if you wanted to rate.
You can't tell me that the kid cooking it at Burger King is actually preparing it the way a vegan would want.
Right.
You know what I mean? You're telling me that kid is like taking the time to clean the grill off the, you know what I mean? They don't have.
Well, it's got mayo right on top of it. Kills the vegan right away.
That's what I mean. I don't think any vegan is eating it. I think it's people who want to pretend they're vegan or like, I'm interesting.
That's
I
right.
ate the Impossible Whopper.
Is it even more healthy for like your blood pressure or anything like that?
It's not. I'm considering this kind of the first small step that we're making as a society to maybe something else. I don't know. Maybe we're all going to get like tubes of paste to eat.
I think. Hey, Bob, go on mute to see if that helps. I think the whole idea. I think the best way to approach an Impossible Burger is 1, forget what meat tastes like. That's step 1. Step 2, wait even longer. Step 3, try the Impossible Burger. And then you're like, you know what? This tastes like meat. But no, it doesn't. It really doesn't.
I was just thinking of a scenario where you're expecting a regular burger, but get an Impossible Burger, like the old Folger switcheroo.
Yeah.
Like, would that make me really angry, or would I be pleasantly surprised?
Those are actually Colombian crystals.
we secretly replaced the food. All right, let's get into some TV recommendations, ladies and gentlemen. We're going to start off with our first one. This is an interesting one. This is a show that Howard was actually involved with, and it's called Blink of an Eye. Howard, take it away.
Yeah, so it's a documentary film. It's available on multiple streaming platforms, from iTunes. I think it's on Hulu or Amazon Prime now. So just a little background for those our guests on the show that don't know, and our viewers. I've worked for Monster Energy for several years and been involved with NASCAR. So that's kind of where my mild involvement with this comes from. But a few years back at our annual national sales, or international now, sales convention, Michael Waltrip, who's been a Monster endorsee, came to do a speech. And it was one of the more moving presentations I've ever seen in my life. Monster, we got a lot of manly men that work for the company, and they were all in tears. So the gist of it, it's a documentary that's really about perseverance and coping with emotion at the highest level. So for those that don't know Michael's story, and that's really what it's about, it kind of gives background on his life coming up in racing. Darrell Waltrip, his brother, was a NASCAR champion. And Michael got involved with professional racing, and he was 0 for 400 and something. He had 400 plus starts without a victory, which is just ridiculous. And it started to weigh on him. Every time he'd get close and something would happen, it just kept weighing on him and weighing on him and weighing on him. His best friend was Dale Earnhardt. And so in the early 2000s, Dale said to him, Michael was in a situation where he didn't know his contract was up. He didn't know who he was going to be driving for. And after going through all this stuff, Dale said, here's what's going to happen. You're going to come drive for me on the new race team that I've set up for Dale Jr., my son. and you and he are going to drive for me. And he's, people were like, you're starting a new team, Dale Jr., we understand, but you're getting Michael Waltrip, who's 0 for 4 something, to drive for you. He said, I know what I'm doing. So the first race of the year, obviously, is the Daytona 500. And Dale kept saying, we have a plan. Me, you, and Dale Jr. are going to draft at the end of the race, and we're going to all be together, and one of us is going to have a chance to win the race. So, again, the movie goes through everything leading up to it. And then for those that don't know the story, everything Dale Earnhardt said about that race came true. The three of them at the end of the race, they stuck together, they drafted, they stayed out of trouble, and all three of them were running 1, 2, 3 at the end of the race, with one of them having a legitimate chance to win the race. And Michael Waltrip won his first career race in that race. He got pushed by Dale Jr. to win the race. What he didn't know was what happened right behind him was Dale Earnhardt wrecked and hit the wall. So Michael went to victory lane, the best moment of his life, bar none, and found out in victory lane minutes after he got there that Dale was in bad shape. And so the movie really goes into how do you deal with the overall emotion of having the best moment of your life and the worst moment of your life happen literally at the same time. How can you strive for something for so long and finally get it, and then have something else so important to you happen on the opposite end? And just how he coped with that and everything afterwards. It's an amazing story. Paul Taublieb, who's director of a bunch of monster video and some short films, he's done some other full-length documentaries, and a friend. He did an amazing job telling the story. It's really great. Dale Jr. is interviewed in it, which is I know it was pretty cathartic for Dale Jr. to talk about it. Michael's just a really open guy. Like I said, the Paul, the director, was in the back of the room when Michael gave the speech at our sales meeting, which was the first time he had ever talked about it publicly. And there wasn't a dry eye in the house. And I think if you watch the movie, it's not a tearjerker movie. It's not supposed to be that. But it's just a really raw, emotional movie. And I think it's exceptional. It's a super quick watch as a documentary. And it's a really good, message, I think, about, how do you balance emotions when you're at such extremes. It's tough to balance an extreme emotion anytime. And then, he talks again about balancing them at the worst and the best at exactly the same time. It's pretty heavy, but still a fun watch. Michael's extremely funny and peppers some good stuff in there. So yeah, I recommend it a lot. I think it's a really good documentary.
Howard, where did you say we could find this movie?
I know it's on iTunes. I believe it's on Hulu and Amazon Prime. If you have an Apple TV, just Google it or just look it up on the Apple TV and it'll Apple it. Yeah, it'll pop up wherever it is. But I know it's both streaming and I know it's purchasable on iTunes. But it's great. And again, I had just a very mild role in helping promote it after it was produced and with some of our NASCAR folks. But it's good. I'll double check while we go on to the next one. Yeah, it's a good one. It's really it's a crier, but it's also a feel good. And funny. So pretty good.
Sounds like dinner with my mother-in-law.
You convinced Jerry. I think you just mentioned which platforms it's on. But here's where the big enchilada pays off.
The notorious DRP. All right.
Says convinced.
DRP is convinced. I'm convinced too. That sounds amazing. Howard took me.
Sorry, I'm just double checking. It is on iTunes. It's also on Hulu, Amazon Prime, YouTube. So
wow. Okay.
any of those premium subscriptions.
It looks like it has a lot of old footage in it. Is that the case?
Yeah, it does, and a lot of it was footage that was seen for the first time. Like one of the most touching moments that it's really isolated is so Dale and Michael's their other best friend, Ken Schrader, who is a driver as well. It shows Ken coming to Victory Lane to whisper in Michael's ear, and Michael's celebrating in Victory Lane. He's holding up the trophy. They're popping champagne, and then you see the moment where Ken comes over almost in tears, because Ken was the one that went to his car and saw Dale, and then went to Victory Lane to find him. And you can see the blood rush out of his face, and the smile immediately fade away. And you're like, holy shit, that's crazy to imagine.
The best moment and the worst moment at the same time. Like,
yeah, literally at the exact same time. And the other thing is, you're on a lot of drivers, they're on, you're on your radio when you win a race, but then, you want to take your helmet off right away. So Michael had done that. He'd unplugged his radio. So he didn't know anything. He couldn't communicate with anybody on the race team until he got to Victory Lane. And so it's pretty amazing. There's a lot of good conversations about Michael and his brother Daryl, who had a strained relationship for a long time. It's just a really entertaining movie. You don't have to be a NASCAR fan to like it. It's it's I think pretty similar to in style to a lot of the ESPN 30 for 30s. Just different production altogether. But I love it, and not just because we were involved with it. So yeah.
No, it sounds amazing. Donna Newman says Vudu, Amazon, and Hulu. And then Jerry thanks you, because that's what the world needs right now. More tears. More tears.
And Donna just really loves those platforms. She posts that on everything. I don't know.
Yeah, she doesn't even know what we're talking about.
She just loves Voodoo.
Maria Daniels says hi, everybody. All right, so we're gonna move on. We got the next show, and we're excited. This is Nate's debut on. So we're gonna talk about the Flight Attendant.
Looking forward to this one.
Yeah, this is. There we go. Look at that. Boom. Well, all right. We're discussing the Flight Attendant. And Nate, take it away, my friend.
All right. So the Flight Attendant. You guys are familiar with the show. It sounds like a couple of you are at least familiar with it. So it's starring Kaylee Cuoco. I believe that's how you pronounce her name. I probably should have rehearsed this, but I think it's Cuoco.
You got it.
But so it's on HBO Max. It's a random thing. I'm not a big I watch a lot of TV, but I tend to rewatch things more than try new shows. So this one in particular, I saw the trailer for it like a few weeks before it was released, and I was like, wow, this looks interesting. It just seemed exciting. And so of course when it came out, I threw on the first episode and I was hooked immediately, mainly because of how exciting it is. It's very it's kind of like a thriller-y, suspenseful thing. So it's about a flight attendant who, and I guess, so this isn't a spoiler because it happens in like the first 10 minutes. So I guess if you're planning on watching it and you don't want to know, plug your ears for a couple seconds. Because it's not a spoiler. It happens in the whole show is based on this event. So she's a flight attendant traveling all over, whatever. She tends to have this like party lifestyle. She drinks a lot, but she drinks like and blacks out a lot, so she's kind of got this bad situation when it comes to that. But she's overseas. She's working as a flight attendant overseas. She goes out with this guy. They get really drunk. She ends up staying at his hotel room, wakes up next to him the next morning, and he's dead. And the whole thing is she doesn't remember what happened, why it happened. She doesn't know anything. She just woke up next to this guy, and it all stems from that. Wow. So the whole show's about her trying to figure out what happened. And I don't want to give away too much. I don't know, because it is kind of like watching it unfold is really exciting. To me, I really liked it. I guess I did read some like kind of not bad reviews, but people who just weren't into it. I don't really look at things critically as much. I go more by like can I stop watching it? Because if I can watch an episode and go to bed, then I consider that like a whatever show. But this was a show where I couldn't, like, I watched it all. And the thing is, HBO Max still puts out one episode a week versus Netflix will drop like 4 seasons in one day. And so you still had to wait. I had to wait till next week. After the first, I think we watched the first 4. We were a little late on it. So we watched the first 4. And then it was like every week after that, we watched it the minute it dropped on HBO Max. But it's really good. And Kaylee, I don't know. I wasn't a Big Bang Theory fan. Personally, I didn't watch the show. Didn't know anything about her, really. I just know her from sitcoms. And the story about how the show came about, it's based on a book. She licensed it or got the rights to it and to make a show. And apparently in interviews I've heard with her, she didn't even read the book when she optioned it. She was just like, this seems good, you know.
So she actually produced the show herself?
Yeah, she started a production company and she was just
wow.
I don't know why she would. I don't know. It seems like a crazy move. I don't know. But she, I feel like with her name.
And it's not a comedy. Like I had assumed that this was a comedy.
Nope. Well, it's funny. But
Seems
it's
like a murder mystery.
It's kind of like that, yeah. Where it's just like it's all about her figuring out what happened, why it happened, who did it. Because of course she woke up next to him. Everybody, you don't know who did it, and the whole time you're like, who killed the guy? And it's just Rosie Perez is in it. I thought it was great. I was hooked. There's also like a subplot with her character, with Rosie's character too. So I don't know. I was into it, and I would definitely rewatch it. And I'm like kind of a picky, like if I'm not hooked, I won't like really like I won't go on a podcast and talk about it. So I guess
and here we go. So
that's an endorsement. That's an endorsement.
Yeah.
Has Rosie Perez been in anything since White Man Can't Jump?
Yes. Rosie Perez. Shame, Rosie Perez.
No,
I like Rosie Perez.
I do want to say that Mick Manhattan is calling out Casey, so we have our fans fighting. He says he's convinced by everything.
Don't be slagging Rosie Perez.
But forget Mick for a second. Casey Ryan Plot. For your first pitch, Nate, he was convinced.
I'm telling you, if you have someone's password for HBO Max, watch it. It's and now at this point, the whole first season, I don't know if they're doing another season. It's one of those things where like they could do another one, but also it was based on a book, so I don't think there's a sequel to the book, so they would have to completely write the story. So
and no one's ever done that before.
Have they? I don't know. Yeah,
that would always work out that great.
It works out great. Game of Thrones.
I believe there was only one Planet of the Apes book. The so my funny Big Bang story is I once tweeted, I'm like, ugh. I mean, what is it with the Big Bang Theory and these laugh tracks? And so someone's like, someone added somebody, they tried to tell on me to somebody, and that person's like, we don't use laugh tracks. So I'm like, really? Have you seen the show? Because and then it turns out I'm going back and forth with the executive producer of the Big Bang.
Wow.
Nice.
He's like, I would know. I'm there.
How did that end? Did you guys wait? Were they like, no, we literally don't?
It ended with me begging him to talk to me again, anyway.
How do they say they don't use laugh tracks? There's a whole series of YouTube videos with that show where they've removed the laugh tracks, and it's just not funny in any way, shape,
I haven't
or
watched
form.
enough of it to give it a fair I do like
It's okay.
Yeah. I feel like it's probably, I mean, it doesn't get that big without being funny, does it?
I'll tell you what got me more interested in that show is the sheer amount of money that these actors are being paid every episode. Like you think to yourself, it's got to be funny. They're paying these people this much money.
Yeah, I mean, maybe it's one of those things where it was funny and it just kind of got so. It's like everything else, where before they were famous or whatever. But
the Big Bang Theory, the first season is legit funny. It is legitimately funny. It's. I think eventually it's just became for those paying attention, the disappearing Bob Phillips.
He's a ghost.
His phone was having a little technical difficulties. But what's Jerry have to say? Next to the person who did the one for Friends.
Without the laugh track. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, that's good stuff to watch. They have comedians warm up a live crowd.
I'm trying to think. Have there ever been any big shows without a laugh track?
I mean, there's
Hi, Grace.
Well, they record the laughs though,
Well,
and then they use them later. So
Sure,
the laugh
exactly.
tracks are from live people.
because they'll do a take. Like, has anybody ever been in a live audience before?
Oh
I have.
Well, Grace is telling us that comedians warm up live audiences.
Right.
Thank you,
But
Grace.
Sometimes they do a take like 4 or 5 times. That first laugh, if they take the 5th take, the first laugh is the laugh they're going to use. You know what I mean? So like,
Right. Well, Casey's called CBS lowest common denominator. Somebody say CVS so he can,
There you go.
comment. Cashier is very slow. Wait, who was on time? Was
I
Kate?
forgot what movie was it? Someone said, they're all dead people laughing, right? Those people were
that's
taped like
crazy,
70 years ago.
that's crazy to think about.
Oh no.
All right. Well, Bob, I think is having some technical difficulties, and I know we promised, but so I'm gonna have to. Bob was going to talk about the Paul Lynn Halloween special, and the Paul Lynn Hollywood special. I'll take it in the sense that other than Bob, I've actually seen this willingly. And the Paul Lynn Hollywood, Hollywood can't talk. Well, I wasn't prepared to talk, so it was like
That's the best kind of name is the kind you can't say.
the Paul Lynn Halloween special came out in October of 1976 on ABC. It is exactly what you would think it would be. It was a variety show that Paul Lynn was extremely popular, and it maintains. This was written by Bruce Valanche. Bruce Valanche, you can hear on my podcast, episode 17 of Live from Detroit, the Jeff DeWaskin Show. Shameless plug. Great interview I did with him. But this is Paul Lynn celebrating Halloween, but he's celebrating it with, and get this lineup, this 1970s killer lineup. Margaret Hamilton, that's the Wicked Witch of the West from Wizard of Oz. Billy Hayes, who's Witchy Poo, right? Okay. And then you had Billy Barty, you had Tim Conway, Roz Kelly. Anybody know who Roz Kelly is? Anyone? Pinky Tuscadero, Roz Kelly.
Nice.
Betty White makes an appearance. Who's
Betty.
turning 99 right now.
Day, right?
Yeah. And then Florence Henderson is there. And of course, you can't have Florence Henderson singing beautiful songs like That Old Black Magic and not have, get this, Paul Lynn, Halloween special, Kiss sings Detroit Rock City, Beth, and King of the Nighttime World. Okay. And then they all kind of get together and sing Disco Baby at the end. And it's basically just it's one of those things where I remember when I was watching it, and the reason I watch it is I have the Amazon Fire Stick, and it just showed up. That's the beauty of the Amazon Fire Stick. It just shows you things to watch. So I just started watching it because I had to, and it's horrible, but it's like the best kind of horrible. It's the kind of horrible that you're just like, wow, I can't believe it. At one point, this was considered top of the bar.
I was gonna say,
television.
Is it horrible because looking at it now, it's or was it horrible then?
I think it was. I forgot to mention that Donnie Marie were in it, and
Billy Barty,
and Billy Barty. Yes, Billy Barty. Yes. And like it's
He
just,
run barter.
it's just it's a crazy show. You can get it on Amazon. I think it's bootlegged. You can find it in other places, but it's Paul basically trying to celebrate Halloween. And the witches, they play them. The witches, Margaret Hamilton and Billy Hayes play Witchy Poo and the Wicked Witch of the West. So it's like it's an all-star thing. So
is Tim Conway prominent in this?
He's got a good part in it. If I remember him like driving a truck, it's one of those things where you can't really remember it. It's really kind of, you remember seeing it because it scars you, but like you don't remember anything specifically about it.
Jeff, how does this rank up against a Very Brady Christmas? Is it?
It's probably the same way. It's like you should at some point hate watch it, and and just to kind of really enjoy it, because I mean there is a brilliance to Paul Lynde, right? I mean there's a brilliance to like the cheese factor of these things they did in the 70s.
Sure.
And it's totally I convinced Casey Ryan. And that was without any prep. But Bruce Valanche is great. Check him out. Episode 17 of the Jeff Dwoskin Show.
That's what, like when you go back, if you watch any old episodes from that era, you can still find some on YouTube of like Hollywood Squares with like Paul Lynde, Charles Nelson Riley, Willie Tyler and Lester, and it's just crazy.
It's pretty bad, and half of them are drunk on that show. The same thing. If you ever catch some of the older episodes of the Gong Show, it's fantastic video.
Notorious for being drunk on that show, yeah.
And they filmed like 18 at a time. So by the end of the week, if you're watching a week's worth, by the end of the week, they're just hammered in the episode.
Oh man! So yes, thank you, Jerry. My pronunciation of that show. I could not get it out. But thank you. So all right, so that's fun. So actually, I'm really excited to hear about this next show, and this next show is. Jimmy's going to talk us through this. This is on Amazon, The Expanse. I've seen this previewed a million times, and I've never started it. So I'm excited to hear about it. Jimmy, it's all you, my friend.
Yeah, The Expanse is I think I was led astray because I assumed that it was something that people who weren't into sci-fi wouldn't like, But then I watched it with my spousal partner. She will not watch any sci-fi. She's the perfect meter for this type of thing because she'll never have any of it. And we started watching it and she's hooked. I got her hooked mid. There's 5 seasons of it. Season 5 is slowly coming out right now. It's doing that thing where it drops an episode a week, which is infuriating, but at the same time the expectation building up is kind of cool and reminiscent of old TV.
Yeah, you mean from months ago, how they used to do it months ago. And
exactly.
That's the crazy thing. I'm 51 years old. For 50 of those 51 years, that's the way all TV was. And now it makes me crazy if the whole season isn't dropped at once.
I have the opposite opinion, but we can talk about that. Go ahead, Jimmy. Finish up.
Well, it's bizarre how quickly we get used to stuff. You know what I mean? But The Expanse is great, and I think I've come to the conclusion that you can enjoy it without being a sci-fi geek. I'll watch anything sci-fi, but it really captivates you. And I think one way it does that is, well, first off, it's from novels, which is always I think great source material. If you I don't know, if you really look at all the movies that really rang your bell, oftentimes a lot of them are from a novel that's just as good. So this is from this set of novels that was very popular, and the same people that wrote it, I got the wiki here, but the same people that wrote it basically sold it for TV. So they became, the showrunners, Mark Fergus and Hawk Ostby. And they wrote it together, but under a pen name. So if you pick up the paperbacks or whatever, it's a different name. James S.A. Corey is the pen name. But it's this huge but very realistic world, because mostly The Expanse, I think, is a political drama of what will happen if humans keep on, doing what they're doing, or it's not so deep a message to it. It's humans are humans. So what do you think will happen? We'll do all of this shit. We'll colonize, the asteroid belt and the moon and Mars. And then there will be a civil war between Earth and Mars will gain autonomy. And, and also some of the technology, there's always these hiccups in the technology that make it feel real. For instance, they have a thing that's kind of I don't know. It's sort of like warp technology or just going very fast through space type of technology. But in order to use it, they have to like get this injection from this juice. They always shout, "Here comes the juice," because this thing clamps onto your neck and injects this juice into your thing so that you can handle the G's or whatever. So it's like, I don't know, little novel style realistic touches like that really kind of make the show cool. And like I think that's what makes it for a non sci-fi person, like why they can still tolerate it. And like I don't know, Thomas Jane is in this, like some of the cast and crew, right? Thomas Jane is in it. And let's see, some of the standouts though, like there's a lot of, if you're into like we have a conversation on the show a lot of times just about, women coming up and getting better and better roles in Hollywood. And that is like really, really true of this show. There's Cara G and Nadine Nicole. There's so many great women in this show. Oh yeah. The one that really stands out to me is Frankie Adams. She plays like this Marine and she's just brutal. Like she plays like Arnold Schwarzenegger basically. But I mean, like I said, all the source material is all from these novels, this pretty deep, pretty like rich world. So it's all like more detailed than that. Everybody's more complicated than just what they come off at first. Like Wes Chatham is like the eye candy guy for the ladies. Like he came on screen in like the first episode that we watched together and takes his shirt off or whatever. And my girlfriend's like, "Well, I'm in." So I was like, okay, well, whatever it takes, but I mean, everybody's a really good actor. I mean, I think, everyone's a really good actor in this, so much so that there's a couple of performances that like, I don't know if there's any reason not to watch the show. It's maybe because like a couple of the performances kind of don't fit or something like that. They achieve this very cool thing where all of the like asteroid belt people have this like accent that's sort of reminiscent of like South Africa and like a little like New Zealand feel in there. And like most of everybody pulls it off really good and really with this like unity where everyone's doing the same thing. But then a couple of people, like, I don't know, they maybe don't quite master it. So like, I mean, there's a couple of tropes and weird things that happen in it that's like, oh, this is sometimes indicative of bad sci-fi, but like all in all, it's got me, like Nate was saying about the other show, like it's just got me hooked, and that's my measure for judging it is like, I really want to watch the other, the next episode coming out. And I binged all 4 seasons. Wow. And I do like some film editing stuff and like digital arts, stuff where I'm at a computer a lot. So I often have a second screen. I have it right now. Just going so that I can look at something once in a while. And I watched the whole series that way, just kind of very nonchalantly. And I was like, no, I got to give this the real watch and watch it with like the sound up and everything.
It sounds like the good news is that Casey's already watched it, but he's not going to rewatch it. You've convinced him to rewatch it.
Reconvinced.
Yeah, it's tempting to, there's so much of it that by the time you're to season 5, you've kind of, and it's so like rich with history and stuff that you've kind of forgotten stuff that has happened that was set up in season 1. Like it's a long-term show. Like they set up stuff in season 1 that pays off in season 5. And like, they do that often. Like, it's definitely worth a rewatch. And I don't like rewatch anything.
So Jerry likens your accent comment to Bill Burr's Boston accent in The Mandalorian.
Is Billy Burr in The Mandalorian? I didn't know that.
Yeah.
But some people are like, that's so charming. And then some people are like, that totally doesn't work. Like, I don't know. I guess it just matters who you are.
I mean, this might be kind of ridiculous to bring up, but I read something on Twitter. Somebody was talking about Arnold Jingle All the Way takes place in Minneapolis, has this Austrian accent. Not one person mentions it, but he's from like the Midwest.
Yeah.
Not one
Jason-
person brings up this thick Austrian accent.
Jason Statham gets away with that all the time too. He's just got like the thickest Cockney brogue, and he.
Yeah.
So Tina, our guest from the episode 5.
Hi, Tina.
Says hi. Hey,
Hi,
everyone.
Tina.
Hey,
Tina's my sister's name.
Wow. All right. So let's see what we got here. We got that was awesome, Jimmy. Well done.
Yeah, I'll check it out. And
Yeah,
I'm not a huge sci-fi person either. So but like you said, your girlfriend she was into it, and if she's not a huge sci-fi fan, it'll probably be the same for me.
Yeah,
like,
she went in,
if girls like it, I'm into it.
Yes, if gals like it, I like it. Hence the Flight Attendant.
All right, we're going to move into our final one, which is called Tehran.
Tehran.
Tehran, which is on Apple Plus TV. I feel like you always pick an Apple Plus TV.
So listen, Apple TV Plus is got their A game going right now in terms of not only what they're producing themselves, but what they're acquiring. They acquired this series. This is an Israeli series that was written for the Israeli public. It's subtitled. Super impressed with this show if you're into the whole espionage action kind of thing. So you're not going to know any of the actors or actresses in the show. They're all of Persian Israeli descent, which is amazing. I don't know how you find a whole cast who is essentially Iranian expats that are for the most part Israeli. The star of the show is this young lady named Niv Sultan. You can Google her, but she is steaming hot, and she's Israeli and had to learn Persian for this show. But basic storyline is this: she's a Mossad agent sent into Tehran, which is one of the most secluded, dangerous places in the world, as we know. Her mission goes south almost immediately. And she was originally born in Tehran, but is an Israeli citizen. Her mission goes south, and she's essentially dumped in Iran by herself. And she's this Israeli spy in the middle of Tehran, and she's got to essentially survive on her own in this terrible country. And she accomplishes this step by step, mostly by remembering her youth in Iran, and essentially kind of reconnecting with the society that she had left when she was a kid, and becomes more, not to say she becomes sympathetic to the Iranians, but that it starts to have personal issues about what's home and what's not home. So it's a terrific story. And I think it's also kind of packaged within the very real modern events of the issues between Iran and the rest of the world, particularly Israel. I think the acting is fantastic. I don't know where they get these actors from, as I said a minute ago. And if you're not into subtitles, that this might not be your thing. But if subtitles don't bother you, this is one of these 45-minute episodes, 8 episodes total for the series. And it is a freaking roller coaster ride, and it all dropped at once, Howard. So make no mistake, you're good to go. But it is very enjoyable. It's heart pounding. You don't know where it's going to go. There's a couple of big twists, and the acting's fantastic. So it's an excellent show that you've never heard of, and I recommend it highly.
Have you ever seen Fauda?
So it's similar to Fauda.
Yeah.
I think it's kind of a reverse Fauda. Instead of a bunch of Israelis trying to purge people, in Israel or whatever, this is an Iranian in Iran, essentially trying to get back to Israel. So it's kind of reverse of that, but it's a similar vibe to Fauda. And I actually, when I first started watching Tehran, I had assumed it was produced by the same folks as Fauda, but it's not. It's a completely different group, and I think they're definitely onto something between Tehran and Fauda. I think these are great shows that I'm going to continue to follow because they keep your attention.
I'm a sucker for a spy story.
Ron,
It's going to go more than one season, Ron.
It is going to go more than one season. Yeah. What did I bury the lead? What happened?
I don't know. Well, whatever it is, I think at the end, whatever your pickup at the end convinced Casey Ryan Plot.
It's great. And check out Niv Sultan. She's wow, something else.
You sold Jerry too, so you got Jerry on this one too. So that's
Excellent.
cool.
Excellent.
Amazing. And then Tina has no idea how we spell it. I don't know either, Tina.
Fauda is not the name of the show I'm talking about. Tehran, but the second show,
Fauda, the other
Fauda, Fauda. But this is Tehran we're discussing today.
Hey, Ron, I just want you to know that I went back to your recommendation, which I had seen as well, but your week 1, episode 1 recommendation, I literally rewatched Ted Lasso just as a pick-me-up. Like one afternoon, I think it was over the weekend. It is such an eminently happy, enjoyable, funny, lighthearted, easy watching show. It's just great.
Yeah, I recommend it highly. If Bob were on our show right now, he would still be saying, "How do you get Apple TV Plus?" For those of you out there that are kind of thinking about making the jump to Apple TV Plus and deciding whether you think it might be worth the money or not, I listen. I don't like the evil empire any more than you do. It's worth the money. This is a great network. They're picking up great shows, building a lot of momentum. I think it's right up there with Netflix and Amazon.
I agree. That's
and
did you watch Morning Show? I know
I
not
do.
to bring up
Morning
show.
I think they got season 2
talked
coming
about
out
it?
soon.
I hope so. That was another one. That's one
We haven't talked about the morning show yet.
Okay, but that's a
A
great
friend of mine's
I
on
won't
morning show.
spoil it. I won't. I'll let someone else
Yeah.
talk about it later.
Well, and for those of us who have spent the money on the other premium Disney TV and paying the plus, and our superhero Marvel fans, coming this Friday is when that thing starts to pay off. Finally, the subscription the subscription I've had for a year, waiting for all the Marvel.
Well, Mandalorian season 2 was amazing. So, and we'll cover that. And next week we're gonna. In a previous episode, Sal talked about Cobra Kai, and so with season 3 out, he's gonna recap that next week. With that, let's do a quick goodbye with everyone. Jimmy, say goodbye to everyone.
Hey, thanks for having me. It was great hanging out with you guys. Best of luck. I'll be following you.
All right.
Thanks, Jimmy.
Nate says, "Hey guys, love the show." Thanks, Nate.
Who?
Yeah, say goodbye, Nate.
All right, bye
fan.
everybody. Thanks for having me, guys.
Thanks,
Nice hanging. Hopefully, I'll be back.
Bob, hope you're okay out there.
Yeah, hope you made it. I don't know, the accident.
Ron, say goodbye, Ron.
Hey guys, it's a pleasure meeting you both, Jimmy and Nate, and look forward to being with you guys next week. And hey, CRP, thanks for the Wolves shout out. Go Wolves, brother.
And Roz, say goodbye, my friend.
I'll be appearing in my living room. You can find me there. So thanks. I'll see everybody next week.
All right, and I am Jeff Dewaskin, host of Live from Detroit, The Jeff Dewaskin Show, and presenting Crossing the Streams. And I thank you all for joining us, and we'll see you next week, Wednesday, 9:30 p.m. Eastern, here, YouTube, Facebook, Twitch, everywhere. Later. Thank you for joining us for this episode of Crossing the Streams, brought to you by SceneSnobs.com and part of the Jeff Dewaskin Show. Your hosts, of course, Jeff Dewaskin, Sal D'Amelio, Bob Phillips, Ron Lippett, and Howard Rosner. Follow us all on the socials, and we'll see you next week and every Wednesday at 9:30 p.m. Eastern. Mark your calendars. We're going live and crossing more streams.